because according to them, they fear that Kashmir will be Talibanized.
Atif, will you be afraid if they held a referendum across the whole country that some provinces would leave?
Actually, this is a very good tactic of delaying this problem by India. I told you in the beginning that there were 502 states, small states, including Kashmir, in subcontinent. And some of them went to India, some of them went to Pakistan. And the British government...
By choice?
No, by choice. That point. The government said you had the princes of those states. They had the princes and Maharajas. They had to decide whether they want to go to India and Pakistan. They had to keep in view, number one, geographically. It's not that you are on the other corner of India and you want to be a part of Pakistan. That's not going to happen. You have to keep in view the geographic situation, and you have to keep in view the wishes of the people. So a lot of them went to India. A lot of them went to Pakistan. So these 500, about 350 went to India. 150 went to Pakistan. The main problem was with Kashmir, only with one state. With the rest, 501 states, there is no issue between India and Pakistan. Now, if we say, with this one state, where there is a problem, let's hold a referendum, they say, let's hold a referendum in rest of the 501 states. We are not confining the problem. We are not converging the problem, we are diverging the problem. The problem is not the state of Rajasthan, the state of Bihar, and so many of the 501 states. The problem is Kashmir. And if India wants Pakistan to hold a referendum in Pakistani-held Kashmir, we are welcome to do that. You're welcome to do that. We will demilitarize the region. We will, under United Nations, we are ready to hold a plebiscite in Pakistani-held Kashmir. Let them decide whether they want to be a part of India, as you said, because it is economically more prosperous, or they want to be a part of Pakistan, or they want to be independent. But at the same time, we want a similar reciprocity from India.
Sonia had a question.
Yeah, I want to raise some issues about size. First question is, out of the 500 or so original states, what is the comparative size of Kashmir to the rest of them? Is this one of the huge, is Kashmir like the biggest?
One of the 5 biggest states.
Okay.
Yeah. But not the biggest.
All right.
5 biggest states.
So then size,
And
we had
so there's a perception of giving up too much if India were to give up Kashmir.
so
The first question is, how big is this area that's being fought over? The second question, because Atif has said size wasn't really an issue in Pakistan, which completely threw me, because my perception as an outsider looking at this is, why isn't India willing to give up that little area strategically? I thought there had to be a reason beneath that, because, you know, that's just not that much relative to the overall size of what India still has for itself.
Yeah.
It's a simplistic point, but you know, like somebody could say, hey, give that for peace looking forward. And you're saying no, size isn't an issue for Pakistan. And I'm thinking, well, Pakistan should see it that way because India has a lot more land. So that threw me off.
So here's the thing. So today, if we give Kashmir, tomorrow Sri Lanka could ask for Tamil Nadu, because Tamil Nadu is close to Sri Lanka.
So we keep prolonging.
So should India start giving each state to every country, whichever country is asking for? Well, for as far as we are concerned, Kashmir, it may be geographically close to Pakistan, it may be geographically close to China, it may be geographically close to Afghanistan. It doesn't mean that by default, Kashmir should be a part of those countries.
Which actually takes me to the next question, which is, okay, you're right, India shouldn't start giving things away, but could India have suggested dividing it in half? Because you said there's 37% run by Pakistan of Kashmir, and a percentage that's a little greater run by
43%.
Yeah, so why couldn't you guys just decide to split this land in half strategically, do something a bit, you know, synthetic, and just divide it that way?
Well,
Okay,
already
that's something.
1/3 of the Kashmir is occupied by Pakistan. Already, so Pakistan already is occupied. Pakistan wants the whole of Kashmir. They're not happy with 1/3.
I'm saying that, you know, this is an alternative. India doesn't have to give the whole thing to Kashmir. You
No, they
guys
already
can
gave
give
it
it
up.
half.
Well,
You know, I
Pakistan
mean,
already has a part of Kashmir. How much more do they want?
But not officially.
No, okay, let me respond to that. First of all, India does not own Kashmir by default. As you can go through this, according to the instrument of accession, Kashmir was provisionally accepted into in India. And Mr. Nehru, which was the founding father, one of the founding fathers of India, said that according to United Nations Security Council, and I go back, in 1948, India went to United Nations Security Council, and United Nations Security Council passed a resolution that a plebiscite would be held, and the Prime Minister agreed that a plebiscite would be held. It's on the record. It's not something concocted. It's on the record. The Prime Minister Nehru, which was the founding father, the architect, one of the architects of partition, agreed that a plebiscite would be held. Anyways, we don't take Kashmir by default. We don't say Indian held Kashmir should be ours by default. What we say is, we hold a plebiscite in our Kashmir, you hold a plebiscite in your Kashmir, let the people decide. Because it is not a matter of 37% of the land or 43% of the land. There is a hostility and investment, emotional investment, military investment, financial investment of 60 years in this problem. So mere regional division is not going to solve the problem. Lots of people are actually will be opposed to this kind of solution. What they want, what people in Pakistan want, what people in Kashmir want, let them decide. What's the problem in that? By default, this is not ours. By default, this is not India. Let them decide, because whether or not, we can argue that by default Kashmir is India's or not. We can by default Pakistan is India's or not. We can, but by default, Kashmiris have a right of self-determination. We cannot deny that. We cannot deny that Kashmiris by default have a right of self-determination.